How'd you break up your ex?
Which one? Oh, I thought you said break up with my ex.
Oh.
It's like, I think I've had one ex-girlfriend. I'm fucking 37 years old.
So when you and Shorty ended it, what happened? Hey everybody, welcome to Out the Trunk with Jordan and Darius. My name is Jordan. Jordan be writing on all socials.
And I'm Darius. That's D's I Love Me area on all socials.
And today we're going to be reviewing 12 Angry Men. This movie came out in 1957. This is actually the oldest movie we've reviewed so far, so it is black and white, literally a classic movie.
Might be the oldest by
Um,
like 30 years.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because we haven't done any 70s movies yet. Yeah, definitely
I
probably
don't really
yeah,
so no.
good 30 years. Maybe 40 shit.
Yeah.
Did a lot of 90s movies. It's starring legendary Henry Fonda, that's Jane Fonda's dad, for those who don't know, Lee J. Cobb, Ed Begley, E.J. Marshall, Jack Warden, Martin Balsam, John Fielder, Jack Klugman, Edward Binns, Joseph Sweeney, George Voskovich, and Robert Webber. 12 Angry Men follows a seemingly open and shut murder trial where 12 jurors retreat to a sweltering room to debate. While 11 are ready to convict a teenager for killing his father, one lone dissenter forces the group to re-examine the evidence. Tensions boil as personal prejudices collide with the pursuit of justice. So I'll toss to you for Act One.
Act one, the lone voice. The jury enters the deliberation room and takes an initial vote, resulting in 11-1 for guilty. Juror 8 stands alone, arguing that they owe the defendant a serious discussion before sending him to his death. Off the rip, let me just say to the
Yeah,
people out there listening, never, ever, ever skip jury duty. Never, ever, ever skip jury duty. I know it's annoying. I know you don't want to do it, but it is your civic duty. Unless you or your spouse are 9 months pregnant, take your ass down to the courthouse and sign up for jury duty. It is the only way this thing works. So,
yeah.
what you got for Act One, man?
So actually, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's literally a perfect movie. It's less than 100 minutes, and you have 12 fully fleshed out characters, excellent dialogue, excellent exposition, and there's like literally not a line wasted. This movie does require multiple rewatches because you that way you can like kind of catch everything that the plot is set up in the first act all the way through the third, and everything literally comes full circle. Um, so I did want to say that, and it's also crazy that Henry Fonda didn't win an Oscar for this movie. It took him like 50 years to get his first Oscar. I don't see how he didn't win one for this role.
This movie didn't win any Oscars. It went 0 for 3.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I wasn't around. My parents weren't around in 1957. So,
Right.
I want to know what beat it. I guess we could Google it. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. One of my favorite movies of all time. I just love how it's so, it kind of exemplifies why our legal system is so much better than other countries, other peer countries, because
Hmm.
you just have 12 regular people who they're just you're not the state doesn't throw you away in theory. Um 12
Right.
regular people have to think about it, and the evidentiary burden is high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt because it should be hard. It should be incredibly difficult for the
Yes.
state to deprive you of your freedom.
And your
And
life.
it's not a bunch of scientists in there. It's not the state. It's just 12 regular
Yeah,
people looking at the facts. The state gets to state their case. The defense gets to state their case. And is it perfect? No, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So
I
I love
agree.
this movie because it shows the system working as it should. Um,
Yes.
and it showed people, one person with a healthy skepticism of the state, just asking questions. And the more you
Hmm.
ask questions, the more you see other people start to ask questions. And we should
Yeah,
always be asking questions when the state wants to remove someone's freedom. And
correct.
just love it. I just love how they set all that up and how they showed that. So, what else you got for Act One?
Um, Act One. So one thing I wish, I mean, obviously in the 50s that there wasn't really a lot of color at that time, or no pun intended, color in in the art of filmmaking, not the
Yeah.
actors at the time. So I just wish there was a little more clarity on what the ethnicity of the kid was, because I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be Hispanic or Italian. Um,
I think that was
I
that it.
guess
Do you think that was intentional though?
it's possible. It's
I mean,
possible
I could just be imparting my
because
2026
because not
sensibilities
because
onto
neither
1957.
I was gonna say because neither nationality or ethnicity was considered white at that time period. Like even Italians at that time period were not considered white.
Correct.
So it does make sense.
And also, yeah, that's true. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, yeah, I think, well, they didn't name the jurors, and that felt intentional.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. That was definitely intentional.
and so I think I like to think that they kept uh the immutable characteristics of the people in the movie out of the movie because in theory justice is supposed to be colorblind.
I feel
And
you.
that might be me putting 2026 onto 1957 sensibilities. It's hard to
Right.
do that because again this movie came out before our parents were born. So
Right.
I literally can't, if a movie comes out 10 years ago I can tell you what the world was like then and think about it. But I
Right.
like to think that that was an intentional thing by the director is that justice is
Okay.
colorblind and we never got to know, the names of the people in the room. It's just the
Right.
facts are the facts and let's talk about the facts. And so,
I agree. That's a good point. I actually have a topic about that I'm gonna bring up in Act Three. Um, actually, that's you kind of led right into my next point about there's no character names at
yeah.
all. They're just literally the whole cast is juror number one through juror number 12. Um, I really love that because the only thing this movie is truly about, and the only thing that really matters, aside from obviously the trial, is everyone's stories.
Yep.
Because, you go in there with you have your whole life that you've lived, and you go into this room, and you're supposed to throw away everything that you've thought prior to the trial starting about your inherent biases and your triggers, things of that nature. But we're human beings, and so we're flawed. Therefore, our decision making, and our judgment, and our system is going to be flawed. And I love the way that the movie illustrated that phenomenon.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be 12 ordinary people,
Hmm.
which can be a bit tricky.
Right.
There's a viral Sebastian Maniscalco bit, and it's hard to make me laugh with stand up. I'm not crazy about it, but he has this bit. He's like, I got called down to jury duty, and I'm in the line, and
Hmm.
these people like are just the craziest people. He's like, ladies get the sheet and she's like, name, and they're looking like, huh. And there's like one lady's like, I have a condition, and like this one guy is just looking at the thing like it's in a different language, and he says, I think to myself, this you guys are gonna decide who goes to prison?
Right.
And the fucking sign-up sheet confuses you?
Yeah.
And it's
Um,
so real. Like 12 ordinary people can be 12 ordinary people.
no. So there's actually this really dope show that came out during the pandemic. I think it's called Jury Duty. I can't remember. It's got James Marsden in it, where the whole show is a prank where there's a fake trial, and there are 12 people on the jury. Only one, everybody's in it except for this one guy, and just the most crazy shit happens. And so there's this guy who was like trying to get out of jury duty because nobody wants to do jury duty. And somebody was like, just tell him you're racist. Just tell the judge you're racist and that you hate black people.
And so, but that's the problem though, right? Like the only people on juries are people who couldn't get out of jury duty. And the kind of
Right.
people who couldn't get out of jury duty are the people who aren't smart enough to know how, or who don't have a
Right.
job that they can go
That
to
that they
that they
could
could
get
get
out
out
of,
of.
or right.
And so that's why I say everyone should accept and enthusiastically do jury duty because
Hmm.
again, the only people on juries are people who aren't smart enough to figure out how to get out of it. That's how it is right now. And
Right.
so that's why it's your civic duty to get on there because right now basically the only people who get stuck doing jury duty are like 12 unemployed people who who can't Google how do I get out of jury duty. So that's why you should do it. Moving, want to hit on Act Two?
uh, yeah, yeah.
All right, Act Two. We're going to call this Shifting the Tide as the jurors meticulously break down the testimony of the witnesses. Doubt begins to creep into the room. Heated arguments break out as more jurors change their votes, exposing deep-seated biases and personal flaws. My note is redundant right there. So I'm going to head to you. What you got for Act Two? I already said that.
Okay.
So,
So Act Two, I love the point that I forget which number he is, but Henry Fonda, he brings up
yep.
the point about basically having a public defender. And the strain that they're under. Like they're not being paid very well. They may not have had the resources or the time to really put together a compelling case. Um, in this time period, again, it's before CCTV, it's before DNA and all that stuff. So it really looks like an open and shut case, and I think remember you mentioned this young defender, so it may have been the guy's first case, and it's a death penalty murder. I don't envy the people who do that work,
No.
and they get a lot of shit, but I mean they're just as underserved in certain respects as the people that they represent.
The thing about public defenders is, by and large, they're the best option available to you. They just don't have the time. And I say that
Right.
to say that criminal defense in and of itself is not a lucrative practice. And so what happens when you like every so often you get like a famous one, like the one who does for all the rappers and like back then Johnny Cochran. But
Yeah.
by and large, if you are a person of means and you're hiring a firm to defend you in a criminal case, you're getting someone who doesn't practice criminal defense.
Right.
They practice other things and they're mapping over. They're good. They're probably fancy at
Hmm.
some white shoe law firm, but this is not their expertise. Public defenders,
Right.
it is their expertise. And so often they're better options. The caveat is if they have the time, and often they just don't.
Right.
And so the state gets unlimited resources to staff the prosecutor's office, and the defense just doesn't. And so,
Hmm.
um, I mean, if you look at the average workload of a public defender, there's just no way they can zealously defend all their clients, and that's why you get so many plea
Right.
deals. And plea deals, I don't even think should be constitutional. And so it gets easy if you get people pleading out because they see their lawyers overwhelmed and the state's throwing 10 years at them and saying, hey, you can take it to
You can do
trial.
two.
And sometimes not even that. It'll be like, well, you can do a year plus time served and you'll be out in 6 weeks.
Right.
And often these people can't post bail, so they're already in jail.
Right.
And so someone's saying you sign this piece of paper and plea, you get to go home today. What are you gonna do?
Right.
You're gonna sit in jail and try to fight this with your attorney who you see once a week, who's dropping papers as they walk in because they're so busy,
Hmm.
or you're gonna
Yeah.
sign that paper and go home.
Right.
It's now what you don't know is that paper locks you in as a felon forever,
Yeah.
and you're on
And probation
parole
is
and
is you know you know
right,
what that is.
but again, you're poor, so you're in jail. You can't make bail if you get a bond at all, and someone's saying you signed this, you get to go home.
What are you
Most people are
gonna
going to
do?
go home.
Yeah.
Most people.
It's like the scene from line from Training Day. You want to go to jail? You want to go home?
Right. It's just, um, it's unfortunate. It really is. But what can you do? Do you think the kid was
Yeah.
actually innocent, or did the jury just realize the prosecution didn't prove the case?
Mm. Um. I think I think the kid was innocent.
Yeah.
I think the kid was innocent. Maybe it's just good casting. He just didn't look like a killer to me.
Yeah.
And even just like the way they broke it down. There was the part about the L train where someone said, "I heard them arguing. I couldn't tell what they were arguing about, but I heard him strike him." It's like so you didn't hear the words they were screaming, but you heard a punch. Like that just
Yeah.
doesn't that doesn't make sense. You
Eyewitnesses are
saw it through.
just
Yeah, you saw through an L train at night a guy getting stabbed, and and the point with the knife about I was a big like Greaser fan, like the novels and stuff like that, the S.E. Hinton novels when I was a kid. So I loved like switchblades and shit like that. And the point about the knife is just dead accurate. No, even if you use a switchblade, even if you hadn't killed someone before, you were never going to use it like this because
right.
that's just not the style that you use. Um, and again, even the fact that the juror was able to find an exact copy, pretty much, of the knife at a pawn shop. Those things were obviously popular. Everybody probably had one in that area of the city. So I mean, it really could have been anybody.
Um, I, my thing is, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he did it or not.
True. That's
That's the
true.
defense's job to prove if he did it. He didn't do it.
Exactly.
It's the prosecution's job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did do it. A lot of people think the defense has to put up an alternative explanation, and they don't.
Right.
They just have to poke holes in the prosecution story. And so I don't know whether he did it or not. You know, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.
Hmm.
Is it unusual to hold a knife that way? Yes, but Stranger things have happened.
I mean, yeah, it's possible.
You know,
Yeah.
but the point of the movie, I think, is that it just doesn't matter. You know,
I mean,
it,
I agree. I think the same thing. Um,
we have to
and
make it really hard to take someone's freedom, and part of that is the prosecution has to do. They have a hard job, and they didn't do their job. So
right. Yeah, I agree. And then also even, with the knife thing, it's like, okay, so he was dumb enough to leave the knife, but smart enough to wipe it off. Like it just
right.
some of it just there were a lot of fallacies there, in the execution of the crime, if you will, no pun intended. Um,
Though you'd be surprised how dumb criminals are, man. Like I've
yeah.
heard of stories where a home invasion, one of the people left their ID. Like literally, like I don't know why they took their ID out, but they literally left their ID at the
That's
crime scene.
crazy.
And if I told you that, you'd be like, what kind of person?"
Who?
I've
Yeah.
literally heard of that story where like I don't know if it fell out their wallet, but like the cops showed up
Right.
to the crime scene and like
That's nuts.
the criminal's ID was there.
Imagine they have you in the interrogation room. You're like, no, I didn't do it. I was at a restaurant, and they're like, sir, here's your ID. They slap it
I
on the
would be
table.
I would be like, hey, okay, I'll admit to it, but can y'all like lie and say y'all had something else so my mom and them don't know I
Please.
left it there? Can we just come up with something a bit more
So they don't
clever
know
than
I'm
that?
stupid.
I'm a criminal either way, but please don't let them know I'm stupid.
And then imagine you go to jail and that word spreads around. They're like, yeah, this nigga left his ID at the scene of the
Levin's
crime.
ID, name, picture, height, eye color, weight, address, social.
Address, license number.
You might as well just leave and go to the police station and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I committed a crime today."
Hey, Brenda, is this a dispatch? Because I did it.
Yeah, you might as well leave the crime and go straight to the police station and turn yourself in. What else you got for Act Two, man?
um, oh yeah, so I love the scene where they're talking about like he screamed, "I want to kill him." He's like, he obviously meant it. No one says that without meaning it. And then he baited him into screaming, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, "You didn't really mean that." This movie has some of the best one-liners ever.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be tricky with that because, I'm so mad I could kill him. Like, okay, but like
Right.
that's why I'm always skeptical of like screenshots out of context as some sort of evidence of wrongdoing
Hmm.
because you'd be surprised how crazy you look screenshot out of context.
Right.
And you might have 9 months of a conversation where you've set the tone and so on and so forth, and like this is how y'all talk, but
Yeah.
someone's looking at six messages in the middle of that with no other
And it looks
context.
like you're begging or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's just
Yeah.
I'm show the whole like I never trust out of context screenshots like that.
Mm,
So,
that's true.
um, anything else for Act Two?
Um, no, that was all I had for Act Two.
We're moving into Act Three. We're going to call this the final verdict. The remaining holdouts face intense pressure as the logic of the prosecution's case crumbles. A final confrontation forces the last guilty voter to face his internal demons before the group reaches a unanimous decision. I loved the scene of them breaking down how hard it is to remember details.
Yes.
Um, it's so much harder than people think.
Right.
And that's why, defense attorneys say do not talk to the police, even if you're
Yeah.
innocent, because you think it's easier
You're
to
gonna
remember what you
misremember
had
it.
for lunch last Tuesday, and I promise you it's not.
Right.
It's like, someone ask me, where were you at 4 o'clock last Thursday? I might say the gym because I go to the gym every afternoon. But
Right.
was I, was that 4:15? Or okay, let's say I say that, but I
Mhm.
went to the gym at 4:15 and someone says, well, no, I heard him in his apartment at 4 o'clock. He said he's at the gym. But like my mind just thinks 4 o'clock is gym, but I might have left at 4:15.
Right.
Like it's just
And I think you lied about everything.
and now it sounds like you're lying, but no, it's just not how
Yeah.
the like I just told you a stock answer and I didn't time it to the minute, but for whatever reason I was 10 minutes behind and I went to the gym at 4:15 and now a neighbor's like, well, I heard him in his room at 4 o'clock. He said
Hmm.
and now that's why you just don't talk. So what you got for Act Three, man?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I also uh so I like this love this movie for several reasons. One of the things I love about this movie is everyone in the cast is you can tell they're all at their core good human. Most of them are good human beings,
Yeah.
and they just have their shit that they just their baggage and shit that they have to deal with. Um, and I feel like there's I don't know if it's just because it was the 50s and there's like the nostalgia of a certain kind of manners and things of that nature, but like the fact that the guy went on a racist rant and they all just stood up and literally turned their back. And this is in the 50s. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, maybe it wasn't that bad, but
Yeah.
it was that bad. But it was that bad. But it was just kind of interesting to see that because today that's so okay now, it feels like. And I know it was okay then too, because it was the 50s and we know what civil rights looked like back then. But it's just interesting to to see that.
Couple of things. It's a movie. So who
Oh, for
knows?
sure. Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's a
Two,
movie.
I'm guessing the just like the characters in the movies. I don't think they said their occupations, but like these looked like they came
Well
off
to
as just
do,
like
pretty
well-to-do, high
much.
society people.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was in
I believe it was in New York.
New York, which is,
Progressive.
this weren't 12 jurors in rural Mississippi. We'll put it like that.
Yeah, 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 that's true.
We'll just saying it like that.
For sure. Yeah.
Uh, so um, yeah, I don't really have anything other than what, as the kids say, glazing for Act Three because it's just perfect when he's
Okay.
just asking him,
Same.
"What movie did you go see?" And like he gets shakier and shakier.
Who was in it?
Who was in the movie? And like,
What was the second feature?
and people watching today who might go to three movies a year don't understand that going to the movies was just it was like picking up takeout. Like
Yeah.
it was
That
just
was their
what
DoorDash.
yeah, it was just what you did. And so this idea that like you remember the specific movie you saw and who was in it and that's
Yeah.
it was a different time. Going to the movie is what you did,
Correct.
on your way home from work and as a matter of fact
Right.
type thing. And so it's just one of my favorite things about um one of my hobby horses is just how inaccurate people's memories actually are. It's but like
Hmm.
long-term things are different, but like the minor details, like what specifically you ate, what you ordered, um, you know, where your location was, it's harder than you think. It really is.
Yes.
And especially when you're in an interrogation room and you think you're untrained, they're trained. They do 10 of these a day. You don't,
Right.
this is the first time you've ever been in that box.
Hmm.
I promise you won't hold up as well as you think.
Yeah, no. Even if like I got mugged when I was like 18 and they brought me in to give a statement and shit, whatever. And I've been in the room with the two mirrors and shit. And I didn't do anything wrong,
Yeah,
but I'm in that room and I'm just like you still like a little nervous and
it's
you're
hot.
like, you know what I mean?
Your
It's
heart's like right
uncomfortable.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they were showing me, looking me, having me look through photos of people that I thought did it, and one of the guys I'm pretty sure was the guy, but I was like, well, if I'm wrong,
This
then I
person goes to
could be
jail.
ruining, yeah, I could be ruining somebody's life. So I really wasn't sure. He's like scale 1 to 10. I was like, I think I said maybe like a 7 or some shit like that, but it could have been, it could have been anybody. And so yeah, that it's a really it's very easy to forget some of the details, like or you wouldn't even think of them. Like I remember I waited a while before I called because I like called my mom first to let her know I was, okay, whatever. And then I remember when I talked to the police, they were like, if you called us sooner, we probably could have caught the guys because we were literally around the corner. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't think about that. And then, just kind of speaks to like detective work and law enforcement. The guy was like, okay, well, what kind of candy did you order from the store that they took from you? And he was like, okay, cool. Like maybe we can find a wrapper, and maybe that wrapper will have and I would never even have thought.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously in a state of distress, but I never would have thought that detail to be that detail oriented. So it is a really tricky system and a really tricky craft, solving crimes and things of that nature that people don't really. It's not like the movies, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's not at all. Yeah, and the thing is, people who don't know anything about it would just say like, "Well, why'd you lie? If you
Right.
weren't if you weren't at the gym at 4 o'clock and you went at 4:15, why did you just say you went at 4:15?" And it's like it's not how the brain works,
No, yeah, yeah,
But it's easy.
yeah.
I mean, it's intuitive to wonder. Like, I know when I went to work, if it was seven
Yeah.
fifteen or 7 o'clock, you do
Mhm.
until you don't.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's very easy to get that shit twisted. Like think about it, like say like we both work remote, so we could say at a certain time of day during the workday we were at home.
right,
But if they were to ask you what you were doing at 4:35 p.m.
right.
or 7:37 p.m., what room in your house were you at? You might have went to the bathroom for a second and you thought you were at your monitor about to
Correct.
prep for the pod. Is that easy?
It is in and one inconsistency, and now you're a liar. And
Yeah,
now
you're
everything you
fucked.
say is in question. And so,
And then the jury sees that, and then that again, similar to this movie, they're like, "Well, that's a hole."
yeah. And that's why a lot of defendants just don't take the stand. Because if you
Hmm.
take the stand, you get to do the prosecution gets to question you as well. And it's hard to look good, especially when you're not ready for it. So,
Right.
what else you got for Act Three, man?
Um. So I was gonna say, so yeah, I think one thing that makes this movie difficult to judge in terms of the characters is all of the jurors are white men.
Yeah.
And so they were more respectful. They were talking crazy to each other, but they were probably more respectful than they would have been in that time period to other genders and races. And it kind of makes it almost a little harder because you almost wonder. I think back now, and I'm like, if if it was a mixed jury, or if that movie was made today with a truly diverse set of jurors, would they have been as open to each other's opinions? Would they have been able to even conceive of the possibility of coming to the same conclusion like in this movie?
I just, I mean, it depends on the case. I like to think so. I do. Um, People obviously have their prejudices and their priors and
Right.
their, preconceived notions. I just said the same thing three times. But, um, you get in that box and you're tasked with taking someone's freedom. I like to think that most people, if they've gotten that far in the situation, would take it seriously.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, it's a big responsibility, and obviously it's
Hmm.
12 random people. It's random and it isn't like your jury is selected.
True.
And
Yeah.
both sides get strikes. And so I don't know. Obviously, it would be different because you're bringing in any dynamic to a situation, especially one as potent as race. It changes
Right.
things. But I like to think that most people in that situation would take the job seriously. So
I feel you.
it's rare that I
Um,
see a high profile case that I think was just like outright wrong. Like I think the OJ trial was just
that
I
trial
don't
was
know
so
how
crazy.
nine people could listen to that evidence and say innocent, but like Casey Anthony, I don't think the prosecutors proved that case. I think she did it, but I don't think they proved
Oh
their
yeah, she
case.
definitely did it for sure.
And so the jury is not tasked with anything but determining if the prosecution proved their case.
Hmm.
And Casey Anthony was not a lovable, defendant,
No.
and so, but the facts were the facts, and the prosecution didn't prove their case, and so
Yeah.
you have to do what you have to do as a jury. You have to take your job seriously, and you have to acquit. Even though I think she did
Right.
it, I would have voted to acquit, given that's the evidence that they had. So,
And the thing too is that's also kind of a catch-22 with the death penalty is most people are not prepared to send someone off to die,
yeah.
especially if there's if there's a speck of doubt. That's some shit that would keep you up at night for the rest of your life, you know?
That's why I don't believe in the death penalty. It's not because I don't believe some crimes are heinous enough to kill people over it. I just don't trust the state to pick and choose.
Right.
And
Yeah.
life without parole is fine. I don't, like I don't like. Why do we need to? You're gonna sit in a room the sizes of a closet with another
Right.
man in a bathroom for the rest of your life. Like I don't need to. That's fine. We're good with that. So. And
Yeah.
that's why whenever there's a death penalty case and death penalty advocates, at the last minute, like it's about time to execute, and there's always someone on the internet who like looks at the crime and they go, you want, I'm out on this one. This one's terrible, and it's like the problem with uh death penalty advocates and abolition is that there are no good cases.
Mhm.
No one goes on death row for traffic tickets. And
Right.
so if you're waiting around for a sympathetic victim, you'll never do any work. you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
what do you think people go on death row for? They're all heinous crimes. And so you have to have a
Correct.
principled objection to it. Otherwise, you'll never do any active advocacy because there's never going to be any good cases that are like there. Maybe in a blue moon you'll find one where it's obvious, but for the
Mhm.
most part, you're advocating for true people who've done terrible things.
Right.
And so either you're in or you're out. Because if you're waiting around for a good one, you'll never do any work. You know?
Facts. Did you have a favorite juror?
Not really. I guess the guy who was a short guy with the knife, and he stood up and he's like showing how the angles wouldn't work. I thought that was pretty cool, bringing
Yeah,
physical evidence. But nah, man, it's hard to pick a favorite when I just everything was so well acted and so
yeah.
professional, and it felt like I was watching documentary footage. It didn't feel like a movie.
No, you kind of
Uh,
forget.
yeah, and so I guess that's my question to you. You know, this is obviously considered one of the greatest films of all time, and why do you
Yeah.
think it resonated so well, and why do you think it held up so well?
Um, because it showed it's probably one of the best examples I've seen in a movie of literally just people.
Yes.
Like the complexities, the beauty, the ugliness, the judgment, the redemption, the love, the hate, the bigotry, the grace. It just showed literally every spectrum of human emotion, of human behavior. Um, there was a point where you could look at just about everybody in the movie and say like they were in the wrong, and then that same person you could say here's where they did the right thing. And I think that's probably what I think is so poignant about the movie. It also just it aged really well. Like
Yep.
it doesn't feel like 50s. It doesn't feel
No.
like right here, Shay. Like it doesn't feel like
If it
that at
wasn't
all.
in black and white, I mean, the
You would
suits
not
are a
know.
bit are fancy for the time, but
Right.
like other than everybody was
Um,
being suited and booted, nothing feels like
yeah,
1957 in it.
exactly. And I don't know if you did you know that there is a remake that came out in '97, and that cast is loaded too, and it's really really good. It pretty much holds up. Um, yeah, I think that it's just one of those stories where it's just a story about the human experience, and I think there are very few things more dramatic than that.
Yeah.
Like it's basically I view it almost as like a sociology experiment meets a thriller, and it's just people talking, but it's interesting the entire time.
And it's and also just the process is the same today as it was in 1957, as
Right.
it was in, 1770 whenever when the Constitution was written. This is how the founders
Yeah.
wanted it. This is how and today if you get called for jury duty on a murder trial, that's how it's going to look.
Right.
And so I think that's why it held up.
I agree.
Anything else for Act 3?
Yeah. I love the one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they really a lot of pretty much everyone flips and they realize like that they could not send the kid off to die. And the irony of the racist of being like in the right of where he was like he surrendered was like he didn't do it before the guy who just had like a prodigal son, so to speak,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that is true. And I think it was a little movie magic there, but I do think it kind of
Yeah,
the movie believes in the process, and it kind of
yeah,
like it's written from the perspective of someone who just truly believes in the process. And obviously it's
mhm,
idealistic, but it just shows
right,
why this system works. Even if it's not perfect, it's the best of the options I've seen in the world. So
yeah. It reminded me a lot of like what people would say about like Captain America. He
yeah.
doesn't represent what America is. He represents what America is supposed to be, what it could be, what it should be. And I think that's part of why this movie is so why it still holds up. I think people want to believe in people even when they don't, and this movie gives you permission to do that.
I would agree, man. What do you rate it?
I'm giving this movie 5 stars. One of my favorite movies of all time. I love a courtroom drama. Henry Fonda top of his game, and I mean all 12 men dropped 40 in this movie. It doesn't get any better than this.
Five for me as well. One of the greatest movies of all time. One of my
Yeah,
10 favorite movies. I've seen it over 12 times. But bump. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. That's D's all up in the area on all socials.
and I'm Jordan. That's Jordan B. Writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We're at Out the Trunk Pod on all socials. That is Out the Trunk Pod on all socials.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, feel free to reach out to us via email at outthetrunkpod@gmail.com. That's outthetrunkpod@gmail.com. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming to the movies with us. Come back next week, reviewing Juror number 2.
All right,
Y'all
y'all.
take care.